Alright everyone, don't mind me in my granny gear, it's a little bit chilly. Anyway, what's this I hear you all say? We want to talk about two-tier Kia! We want to talk about two-tier Kia! That's what I heard in my head anyway. This story's been doing the rounds and I thought we'd read it together. You know, like in school when you all have to sit around at your desk and the teacher points out who has to read the next bit. No? Alright then, we won't do that. I'll read it, okay? I'll read it for you. Telegraph journalist faces Kafkaesque investigation over alleged hate crime. Allison Pearson reveals how police officers called at her home on Remembrance Sunday to tell her of inquiry into year-old social media posts. A Telegraph journalist is facing a Kafkaesque investigation for allegedly stirring up racial hatred in a social media post last year. Well, I don't know what that actually means because I've been called racist quite a lot, usually for saying that men are not women or that women and girls should have their own spaces in public facilities such as toilets and changing rooms. That's usually where the racist label comes at me. So when I hear racist, I don't take it seriously. I'm like, well, what? Somebody's telling the truth again. Let's find out what she's actually said because I'm really intrigued. Allison Pearson, an award-winning writer, has described how two police officers called at her home at 9:40am on Remembrance Sunday to tell her she was being investigated over the post on X, formerly known as Twitter, from a year ago. In an article for the Telegraph, she said she was told by one officer, "I was accused of a non-hate crime incident. It was to do with something I had posted on X a year ago." A year ago? Yes, stirring up racial hatred apparently. That's a direct quote from her. When Pearson asked what she had allegedly said in the tweet, the officer said he was not allowed to disclose it. However, at this time last year, she was frequently tweeting about the October 7th attacks on Israel and controversial pro-Palestinian protests on the streets of London. Ah, okay, I see. So I bet she was probably tweeting about how horrible it was to see all of the out and proud, brazen celebrations of the terrorist attack that happened in Israel, where on October 7th, women, girls, children, babies, entire families were tortured, raped, beaten, murdered and taken hostage. Some of the hostages did not come out alive or are still being held. And there were a lot of people on the day, like literally on the day, gone to the streets to celebrate that this was happening. Like they were so happy about it. And I guarantee that the tweet in question is probably something to do with this woman, Allison Pearson, not being happy about it. Because if you're not happy about a terrorist attack on Jewish people, then maybe you're racist. Is that where we're going here? Is it? I wouldn't be that surprised. The officer also refused to reveal the accuser's name. Pearson recalled, "It's not the accuser," the PC said, looking down at his notes. "They're called a victim." Well, this happened to me, right? When my stalker reported one of my tweets to the police, and I was threatened by that police officer, illegally, my stalker was referred to as a victim, despite the fact that no crime had been committed and that there was no investigation. As far as I'm concerned, the police shouldn't ever be calling someone a victim if there's no conviction, if there's no investigation, if there's no way of determining that a crime has happened and that this person is a perpetrator and that person is a victim. You shouldn't be calling anyone a victim or treating anyone as a perpetrator until you get to the bottom of it. That's my opinion. I know that the police disagree with this. Oh, and by the way, my incident with the police also happened with Essex Police, and we're going to find out in this story that Allison Pearson's incident with the police is with Essex Police. I opened a case against Essex Police for what they did to me, and that case is still open. I refuse to close it because they are refusing to apologise on the ground that they cannot force this officer to apologise. I'm guessing they're, using some sort of concept of free speech to tell me that they can't force someone to apologise, even though they come at me for my speech, because my speech isn't free, right? Interesting. So if you want to hear about that story, let me know because I'll make a video about it. Hi, I know you're trying your best to be a decent, anti-racist, anti-fatphobic, anti-pasty, anti-ableist, anti-transphobic, anti-homophobic, anti-fascist, anti-lope, anti-Nazi, anti-capitalist human. Buy my art today and you might be forgiven for your thought crimes. The famous artist, birdierose.com. back to the article. Essex Police said on Tuesday night that officers had opened an investigation under Section 17 of the Public Order Act 1986 relating to material allegedly likely or intended to cause racial hatred. A police spokesman said, "We're investigating a report passed to us by another force. The report relates to a social media post which was subsequently removed. An investigation is now being carried out under Section 17 of the Public Order Act." Sounds very official. But you know what rubs me the wrong way about this? They are determining her intent and her motive for her. Without even asking her what her intentions are, they've already determined it. This is one of the major problems that I personally have with hate crimes and hate speech legislation. So the way it works is the victim is a self-identified victim, and they get to decide what the perpetrator's motive and intent was. You, the accused, are the perpetrator. You don't get to say, well, that wasn't my intent, because this has already been decided for you. It doesn't sound fair to me. And also just the idea that speech can be a crime and can be determined as hateful, whether you mean it to be or not, blows my mind. I don't think there's anything about it that I could possibly support at all. And the other thing about hate crime is, how could a crime be more crimey than another crime just because you think the person who did it was hateful? It's how do you determine that? Like in this case and in my case, the hate crime was me saying things that my stalker doesn't like. It's not a crime to say things that somebody doesn't like. In this case, Allison has no idea who her accuser is, but her accuser is apparently the victim of a crime. I think this is dystopian. I think it's insane. It's completely fucking batshit, absolutely batshit cave crazy. And you know what's insidious is the victim is determined by obviously being self-identified, but also being the first person to cry to the police and having all of the oppression markers according to the woke hierarchy. So if you're brown or black or you're transgender or non-binary, not if you're gay, not if you're white, not if you're straight, but if you're one of those other things, you get to claim victimhood and you get to call the shot and you get to determine the other person's motive and intent, and you get to accuse them of a crime and they will be treated as a perpetrator right off the back. That's how this game is played, and it's insidious because the truth doesn't matter. An investigation doesn't matter. Protecting the perceived oppressed person above all else is the only thing that matters. So the article says, as part of that investigation, officers attended an address on Sunday, November 10th to invite a woman to attend a voluntary interview on the matter. What I love about these voluntary interviews is they're not really voluntary. What will happen is the police will invite you to a voluntary interview, and they're not breaking the law because they're not forcing you to do anything, right? But if you don't attend the voluntary interview, you will be arrested. So they're not forcing you. This is all your choice. You get to choose. This is voluntary. This is your choice. But if you don't do it, you will be arrested. I love it. And when I say I love it, I mean I hate it. But I use the word love the way woke people use the word woman. Just think of the opposite. Police sources indicated that it was being treated as a criminal matter rather than a non-crime hate incident. I've got my own problems with the non-crime hate incidents as well. However, it comes in the wake of an intense debate over the policing of protest and how forces should deal with alleged hate speech. I don't agree with all this hate speech stuff. This non-crime hate incident bullshit, that should have been gone a long time ago. I'm pretty sure Harry Miller did win a case against the College of Policing in the UK about this, but they've gone ahead and carried on doing it anyway because these people think they're above the law because they're ideologically possessed and they're stupid. They think they're making the rules, and do you know what? Actually, they're not stupid, are they? Because they actually are making the rules, so they are above the law. We're the stupid one because we're the mugs that put up with it. The thing I hate about hate speech, even just the concept of it, is that it only ever fucking goes one way. People can destroy your life, send the police after you, get you arrested, make your life a living hell, get you sacked from your job, get you ostracised from your friend, and they can do it by slandering you, libeling you, defaming you, lying about you all over the place. They can use reputation destruction to cancel you from this society. That's their freedom of speech. But you don't have the right to tell the truth because you don't have the same rights as these people. That's why it's a two-tier system. There are some people that are held above others, and those people are the people that have the right skin colour, have the right gender identity and believe in the correct things. If you show any sort of opposition to that, in terms of what I mean is by having the wrong skin colour, by not being religiously inclined into the correct ideology, or by at least not pretending to worship the correct ideology or pretending to believe the current approved of beliefs, then you're in the wrong no matter what you do, and you're always going to be accused, you're always going to be suspected. And there's nothing you can do about it. You do not have the same rights as the oppressed people. They're allowed to say whatever they want, and you're not. That's just how it goes. The article then says, last year, Suella Braverman, then the Home Secretary, raised the threshold for police recording a non-crime hate incident over a perceived threat that laws posed to freedom of expression. It's not a perceived threat, is it? It's a very real one. It was amended following a Court of Appeal ruling in favour of Harry Miller, exactly what I said, a former police officer who successfully challenged the previous national policy for forces to record gender-critical views as non-crime hate incident. Judges said the policy had a chilling effect on freedom of speech. Under the change, officers were only allowed to record a non-crime hate incident if the incident is clearly motivated by intentional hostility and there is a real risk of escalation causing significant harm or a criminal offence. So what this is, this non-crime hate incident bullshit, is people having a criminal record for not committing a crime, but the victim or the police deem you to have had hateful intent in this non-crime that you didn't commit, and then they deem you to have clearly been motivated by hostility. I don't know how they determine that, but they decide that you're hostile, that your speech or your beliefs should be a criminal act and should be considered a crime, but they're currently not allowed to be considered a crime, so they're going to keep it on your criminal record anyway, as if you committed a crime, just in case you do commit a crime in the future. Then they can say, aha, we knew you was going to commit a crime, that's why we gave you a criminal record about committing a crime, because we knew it was going to happen. And the criminal offence that could happen later, what they're waiting on is for your speech and your thoughts to actually become a criminal offence, and they're right to wait on that because Labour's in now and they promise to make these sorts of things a crime, like misgendering or dead naming, basically telling the truth and refusing to go along with a bogus religion. They're going to make that a crime, and then the police have a real reason to say that they recorded these non-crime hate incidents on you because they knew you were going to escalate into a real crime, and the real crime you commit is refusing to say that a man is a woman. So you can see where all this slippery slope ends up. And it's happening, it's unfolding in real time, it's fascinating. By fascinating, I mean absolutely terrifying. Anyway, I just wanted to say, I love Harry Miller. He was the first person to phone me up when I was getting cancelled, didn't even know what cancel culture was, didn't even know what was happening, and he's really been there for me over the years. Whenever I've called upon him, he's answered, and he's just someone who's never let me down. Anyway, the thing I wanted to say about Harry Miller is when the police threatened me on behalf of my stalker, he was absolutely crucial in me being able to stick up for myself. He was the first person I contacted when I got the email, and he really helped me, and so did the Free Speech Union. Actually, the Free Speech Union got me a lawyer, and between my lawyer and Harry Miller, we formulated a plan and wrote a letter to the police and opened a case against them, and I spoke to the police from there. As an artist, just like an artist that grew up in a council estate and everything, I shouldn't have to have a lawyer on hand, but here we are. And as a regular law-abiding citizen like Allison Pearson is actually frightening, actually mind-blowingly anxiety-inducing, stressful, to be put in a position where the police are threatening you over something that's not actually a crime. It's completely surreal, and it's even more surreal. It's escalates to another level of frightening when you have to stick up for yourself against the police and basically tell them to fuck off and leave you alone. Because the idea of having to go against the police if you're just a normal person that's not criminally minded is one of the most daunting things you could ever imagine. So even if you're telling them to fuck off in polite legal terms, which is what I did, it makes you sick to your stomach, and it completely destroys any trust you have in the police. I don't trust them one bit, especially not Essex police. No way. They'll lie to your face. To lie to your face. So it says in the article, Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary, is considering reversing the charges to the guidance and restoring requirements for police officers to record non-crime hate incident. Of course she is. She's woke as fuck. She wants to strengthen the police recording of hate incident amid concerns that the new guidance is preventing the police from monitoring and identifying threats to Jewish and Muslim community that may escalate into violence. Look, you know, when it comes to this, Jewish people are being targeted unfairly, and there will be some Muslim people who are targeted unfairly, but I don't think this is because of speech. I think it's because of censorship and lack of truth in our society. It shouldn't be so hard to get to the truth of a situation. You shouldn't have to have a billionaire like Elon Musk buy a platform just so that people are not censored and the truth can come out. It shouldn't be that way, but that's where we are. I don't think any escalation into violence that could potentially happen in the future is because people are speaking too much. I think it's because people are not talking enough and they're not able to get to the truth. And not only that, when they do speak and they do speak to the truth, they're punished. Keir Starmer came out right away calling everyone, working class people, far-right thugs. We've got a situation here where normal voices are not respected and not heard, not listened to. In fact, you're being punished. And that's what we're seeing here. So I ain't a fan of this. So it says here, police are recording more non-hate crime incidents than ever before, despite the crackdown. Of course, this is what I said. Look, Harry Miller won his case. They're going ahead and doing it anyway, because fuck ya, we can do what we want. We're above the law. We're the lawmakers now. It's so unbelievably cocky. It's unreal. Data obtained from 30 of the 43 forces in England and Wales showed that the number increased by 0.4% to 11,642 in the year to June 2023 to 11,690 in the year 2024. However, Essex police have only solved 14.3% of reported crimes in the year to September 2024. Well, that is because they're too busy chasing up people like little old me and Allison Pearson for thinking the wrong things and writing them on X. You know, it blows my mind because you've got a platform like X. It's a free speech platform, you can say what you want. But then your government and your local police force will go, "Oi, what are you doing over there saying what you want? We never said you could do that. Get down the police station voluntarily, and if you don't, we'll arrest you." Elon Musk, the owner of X, has criticised British police forces for launching investigations into users over their posts. I mean, he did say this needs to stop when he shared the article, and Harry Miller's organisation We Are Fair Cop wrote, "It should already have stopped. The police have been told by both Court of Appeal and Parliament." Now that shows you that the police are out of fucking control, because they have been told in court and by Parliament not to do this anymore, and they're still doing it. In her article, Pearson said she was shocked to be confronted on her doorstep on Remembrance Sunday while in her slippers and dressing gown. And that reminds me of what happened to Caroline Farrow. If you don't remember her, she's a Catholic woman who has gender critical views, you know, like she knows that men are not women and that women are not men and humans can't change sex, and that you really shouldn't sterilise children for no reason. So because of that, she was arrested on her own doorstep in her dressing gown in front of her small children, and they took her down to the station. I believe, if I'm remembering correctly, she stayed overnight. She's had all sorts of hassle from the police. When she was arrested initially, she was told it was over posts she had made anonymously on an internet chat board, but it turned out none of the posts were even hers. She still got held overnight. So, you know, with this, the process is the punishment, okay? The police don't care that they're overriding the law and they're making their own laws, you know, like they're like the morality, religious police now. They don't care about that, and they don't care if they can't actually put you in prison. What they care about is the process of putting you through this. Look, I'll get to it in a minute, but there's other reasons the police do this, okay? Let's carry on with the article now, though. I was definitely shocked, astonished, that too, upset. How could I not be? It's never nice having the police at the door if you're a law-abiding person, because the police at the door can only mean one of two things: tragedy or trouble. But to have them here on the saddest, most solemn date in the calendar with this kind of malevolent nonsense, it was surreal. I have hundreds of black and Asian followers on X, Twitter, None of them ever suggested I'd said something bad or hateful. Besides, who decides where you set the bar for what's offensive? This is supposed to be 2024, not 1984. Yet the police officers seem to be operating according to the George Orwell operational manual. Maybe I need to draw one of those. I don't really like the whole thing of making a caveat of like, I've got brown friends and they're okay with what I'm saying. All that stuff kind of makes me cringe, but I understand why people feel like they need to make that sort of caveat. I just don't think it's necessary, because I don't think any of us should have to justify what we're saying by saying that somebody else in a certain minority group or oppressed group approves of what we're saying. You know, the idea of free speech shouldn't be on the approval of certain groups of people. But I digress. When she asked the officers why she could not know what she was accused of, she said the two policemen exchanged glances. Clearly the Kafkaesque situation made no sense to them either. See, what I don't get is why these officers are not like embarrassed as fuck, because I would be. Look, if I was an officer, I wouldn't go around threatening people or trying to arrest people or demanding these voluntary interviews without knowing what I was doing it for. To me, it's a little bit too reminiscent of a certain group of people in history just claiming that they were only following orders. Bit awkward. On Tuesday night, Mrs. Braverman said, as Home Secretary, I changed the rules on recording non-hate crime incidents to protect freedom of speech. As I repeatedly urged, the police should not be policing opinions on social media, but should be arresting shoplifters and tackling antisocial behaviour. Non-crime hate incidents have been expanded by the police and really should be scrapped so that they stop wasting time and focus on the public's priorities. Bang on. Totally agree. Toby Young of the Free Speech Union. I'm a member of the Free Speech Union. I recommend them because you never know when you're going to need legal support, and they're brilliant for it, okay? So just a little shout out there. But Toby Young of the Free Speech Union said, it's little wonder that 93% of car-related crimes went unsolved in Essex last year. Get in, Toby. I mean, I live in Essex. I can confirm it's not just car crimes that go unsolved. It's almost any crime that actually involves a real criminal. They just don't get touched. The police ain't interested. Hey, but if you have a thought or you write a tweet, they're all over it like flies on shit. They probably prefer investigating thought crimes or non-crime hate incidents, you know, non-crime, rather than real crimes. It's just easier, isn't it? I'm sure they'd prefer to be investigating actual crimes rather than non-crime. But their politically correct bosses are more concerned with punishing wrong thing. I don't think that's true. In my case, the constable and the chief inspector was actually against what the community officer did to me. So I'm wondering if it's bottom up rather than top down, that you've got all these like woke community officers and things like that want to do this shit. At the end of the day, it is much easier to arrest a middle-aged woman for saying the wrong thing on the internet than it is to go after a gang of drug lords with machetes, you know? Please go to the description below to read Allison Pearson's account of what happened, because I think it's really insightful to read a first-person account of an event like this. Here's some bits of her article that I thought were really important and stood out to me. I asked Toby Young, the founder and general secretary of the Free Speech Union, to explain non-crime hate incidents to me. The idea, Toby said, is if you nip hateful behaviour in the bud while it is still not a crime, the person won't go on to commit an actual crime. In January 2020, an ex-police officer called Harry Miller was shocked to be interviewed by a Humberside police constable after the force had received a complaint over a tweet he had made in which he questioned whether transgender women were real women. They're not, by the way. There's no such thing as a transgender woman. There's just men claiming to be women. It was recorded on a national database as a non-crime hate incident. Even though I had committed no crime, the constable said he needed to check my thinking. That is so unreal. That these constables need to check your thinking, check what's in your mind, dig around a little bit in there, make sure you're not thinking anything you're not supposed to be thinking. Fucking crazy. Harry Miller said it made him frightened for his country's future. Well, aren't we all? You know, aren't we all, Harry? Harry Miller went on to win an important case in the Court of Appeal, Miller versus the College of Policing, which concluded that the recording of non-crime hate incidents interferes with the right to freedom of speech. Of course it does. Additional safeguards were necessary, such as interference, the court said, is lawful only if it can be justified as seeking to achieve achieve a legitimate aim, namely the prevention of a crime disorder or the protection of rights of others, and if the recording is made in accordance with a common sense approach. Well, of course it's not going to be made with common sense, because people ain't got common sense no more. It's been brainwashed out of them by TikTok. I am told by a senior Home Office source that chief constables like non-crime hate incidents. Yeah, well, okay, I'll admit the police in general seem to like it, because it's an easy way of getting your job done without having to get into like some sort of wrestling match with an armed burglar or something like that. Chief constables like non-crime hate incident because they win them brownie points from various pressure groups. Good news! We recorded 15 non-crime hate incidents for Islamophobia this month. Yay! I'm afraid I don't share their enthusiasm for those blunt instruments of censorship and social control. Was it really in the public interest to send 2 police officers to my house on Sunday morning? What proof did Essex police have that I was motivated by intentional hostility in a tweet 12 months ago, whose content they refused to disclose? What threat of actual crime or disorder do I pose to anyone with a protected characteristic, if any? How much common sense informed the police's approach? These are all great questions, and another thing I want to point out is, like, I really hate the protected characteristic idea. Why should certain people be protected above others just because they've got like a skin colour or a religion or a gender identity or some sort of fetish that they're playing out as a new religion? You know, why should anyone be protected above anybody else? Why can't we be equal? How can they prove that what she said is a threat of her escalating into a crime? What proof have they got of that, right? Did common sense inform this? I don't think so. They're not even going to tell her what the non-crime is. Look, the policeman who threatened me most likely was doing it to win some sort of brownie points. I imagine it was something like Stonewall Diversity Champion point, and potentially get a raise or a higher up position within his work. And I think it's really, really insidious that we're in a position where the police are openly using their power to destroy innocent people's lives just so that they can get a leg up at work. It's absolutely insane. How good are these Stonewall Diversity Champion points? I mean, what do you get? Like a holiday or something? Do you get a boat? Do you get a car? What is it? Do you get free crisps for life? What do you get? Like a little sticker that says well done? Don't know why people are incentivized by this, but maybe they're just stupid. The article says most people would think this was stark staring mad. I think the phrase is stark raving mad, but yeah, it seems that Yvette Cooper, the new Home Secretary, may want to repeal Suella Braverman's statutory instrument and unleash ever more spurious non-crime hate incident. Yeah, we're fucked. We're totally fucked. Presumably to encourage the British people to keep their traps shut and throw away the keys so we can never speak again. And, you know, unless you've got the pre-approved opinions. That does not suggest a happy, confident country or a political class that believes it governs with popular support. I mean, like, no, nobody fucking trusts the government. Nobody trusts the police. Nobody trusts the media. Not a good situation to be in. As the writer Charles Bukowski observed, censorship is the tool of those who have the need to hide actualities from themselves and from others. And you know he's telling the truth about that, because he told the truth a little bit too much. Let's hope Yvette Cooper changes her mind and the police stop bothering people who have done nothing wrong and stick to the bad guys. Yeah, but look, the bad guys are actually really scary. I ain't scary. I went to an event a little while ago and I offered the door ladies some help. I said, look, if you need some muscle at the door, I'm about. Lady looked at me up and down, went, you're about as scary as my cat, love. I don't even know what that means. Does it mean I'm cute? I don't know. A lot of people love cats. I'm a little bit scared of them. Listen, the actual bad guys are way scarier than us. So the article ends with, there is zero evidence that recording non-hate crimes reduces hate crimes, insists Toby Young. It's just a smokescreen. The real reason is to punish people who don't comply with the gospel as promulgated, as a new word, by the Church of Woke. That's absolutely bang on, you know. It ain't about preventing crime, it's about punishing people. Like I said earlier, this is like the morality religious police. So, you know, you can stab someone up, you can steal someone's car, you can rob their house. Fine. But if you think that men are not women, you're fucked. You're getting arrested, mate. You're getting a visit from the old popo. I think the police really done fucked up this time. They've fucked up really, really bad. Do you know what? They've fucked it so much, they've fucked it all outside of space. They've messed with the wrong woman again. And they're going to keep doing it. They're going to keep fucking up. They're going to keep messing with the wrong person. They're going to keep doing this. They'll do it again and again and again. Mark my words. And the only way we can stop it is to arm ourselves with the knowledge of what our rights actually are. Get yourself acquainted with people like the Free Speech Union. Follow We Are Fair Cop. Inform yourselves. Because when the police come knocking on your door, you want to know what to do and say for yourself, and you want to have a lawyer ready to go. Look, I just hope the pushback on this is loud enough. So share this story, share the articles, read the articles in the description below, shout about it, tell your friends about it, talk about it, just put it up in conversation, find out what people think and see if they know this is going on, because I guarantee you most people don't even believe this is happening. Show them it's happening. Write to your MP. Become a little bit of a ninja nuisance. Let's get this scrubbed out of our society, because I hate it and I don't think it should be a thing. And the only way we can make this not a thing is to be a fucking pain in the arse about it. We've seen the left do it with all their woke shit. The TRAs, they get their way all the time. Why do they get their way? Because they're a bunch of spoiled brat toddlers having a tantrum every 5 minutes. We need to be a pain in the arse. That's what we need to be. Anyway, my dinner is ready, okay? And I'm quite hungry. So I've got to go. See you later.
Early in the morning, as the sun comes up, I just wanna have a cup. There's one drink, that's the one for me. Won't you please make me a cup of tea?
For those of you who don't know the incredibly exciting news, Justin Bieber had a baby this year, and I spent a really long time looking for a baby for him. And obviously I've been trying to find a Hailey Bieber, and I was trying to find a baby doll for Justin and a baby mum. So at my nephew's birthday party at a bowling alley recently, I found a machine that gives you trolls for £1. Now Justin has a baby. Meet his baby. Isn't he lovely? Congratulations, Justin Bieber. There you go, I'm putting him back on there now.